What's up, YouTube? This is Fresh Pair at your service, back with another humble performance review. And for this edition, we test the BRANDBLACK J Crossover 3 on the court. I played in these for 6 days, or a total of about 15 hours across a variety of courts. But before anything else, do hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me on Instagram as well, that's where most of the regular action goes. So peep the description box below because all the links will be there. Much love everyone, and now on to the review. First, my apologies if some portions of the video are either too dark or too bright. I do not have good video equipment, but I try to make up for it with good content to the best of my knowledge. Now, let's check the materials. The J Crossover 3 primarily uses a one-piece ballistic nylon for its upper, and it is thin and light. Brief history: before Kevlar there was ballistic nylon. In other words, the upper material is tough as nails. Not surprisingly, the JC3's upper material can take a beating. Some sections of the ballistic nylon upper have a fused skin, which is basically fused TPU, and it enhances the upper material's durability and support at the lateral, medial, toes, and eye stay. As for main cushioning, BRANDBLACK uses its patented black foam for the JC3, which promises to have 40% more rebound than EVA foams. Force vector technology is also used in the midsole, which is basically full-length thermoplastic that houses the foam cushioning. A thermoplastic shank can be found at the midfoot as well. For superior fit at the collar, there's a 4mm high-density foam. The collar is notched shape and uses a semi-soft construction for support and a snug fit. At the back is a molded asymmetrical heel that BRANDBLACK calls Ergo Interface, quite a fancy name right there. Also, the JC3 features a support shroud at the heel and it is removable. Finally, the outsole of the JC3 is a full-length, multi-directional rubber tread that is inspired by wiper blades. As for weight and durability, the JC3 feels light and durable at the same time. This is mainly due to the mix of the materials used in the shoe. The traction blades on the rubber outsole run from heel to toe. In contrast to the JC2, the rubber treads on the JC3 are less pliable. Of course, you may use the JC3 on courts with rough surfaces, but I don't think the rubber treads will last quite long when regularly used on outdoor courts. In general, however, I think the outsole of the JC3 is more durable than the outsole of the JC2. As for traction, some break-in time is needed. Mine took about 2 hours of playing, but once the rubber treads are broken in, expect good traction on clean courts. both hardwood and smooth concrete, painted or not. On moderately dusty courts, you will have to wipe the outsole every once in a while for you to be able to stop on a dime. Meanwhile, constant wiping of the outsole is necessary on dusty courts so that you won't slide. Overall, I think the JC2 has better traction than the JC3 on regular smooth concrete courts. The main reason is that the JC2 has pliable outsole treads combined with the rubber composition. However, I think the difference is not heaven and earth. It is minimal, but it is somehow noticeable. If you have questions as to whether the JC3 has better traction than a particular shoe, post your questions in the comments section and I'll try to answer them. One final thing, with the JC3, each step flows smoothly. Expect great heel-to-toe transition from the shoe. The J Crossover 3 uses black foam for cushioning, which is a departure from the Jetlon of the JC2. On its own, black foam promises to deliver 40% more rebound than your standard EVA foam. I don't have the calculations or statistics, but relying on my experience, I really think that black foam lives up to expectations. It does feel responsive. Personally, I don't find it plush, and plush foams tend to slow my steps due to reduced response time. The effect may be more psychological than physical, but I can feel the difference. Fortunately, the JC3's black foam has none of that reduced response time. For the most part, black foam feels like foam on steroids, and it is my top pick for foam cushioning as of this moment. And yes, I think that black foam is better than Jetlon, and Jetlon is already one of the better foam cushions around, but that's just my take. In terms of court feel, the JC3 ranks average. Your foot sits neither too low nor too high off the ground. I think the shoe's court feel could have been better had BRANDBLACK decided to trim down the black foam by just a little bit, particularly at the forefoot, and I think that doing so will not have a significant effect on forefoot cushioning. As for fit, go a half size down. Again, go a half size down. I tried my true size and it fits long. There is major room at the toes lengthwise. I think the JC3 has more length than the JC2, which is pretty weird. Wide footers, however, may go true to size, although I strongly suggest to try on a pair first if possible. Heel lockdown is above average, and part of it depends on the heel shroud. The shroud hugs your ankles and heels without discomfort even when laced tight. Midfoot lockdown is also above average, and the main reason to that is the lacing system. When laced tight, the throat and ballistic nylon at the sides really hug your midfoot like your ex-girlfriend that just won't let go. Let me just add that the lacing setup in the JC3 is different from the one in the JC2. The JC2 uses a lacing system where the lace holes are tube-like that are stitched parallel to the eye stay. Also, the laces in the JC2 are the rope type. Those two factors are essential to maintaining the lockdown with the stretchy woven upper of the JC2. The JC3, however, uses the traditional lacing setup. The shoe features your typical eyelets and flat type laces. I think there was no more need to reuse the lacing system in the JC2 since the ballistic nylon upper material in the JC3 no longer stretches the way woven uppers do. Of course, BRANDBLACK had the option to reuse the lacing system of the JC2 in the JC3, but I think doing so would have been an overkill as far as lockdown is concerned. I'm guessing it would have made the fit uncomfortable. As for ventilation, the JC3 is not as breathable as the JC2. If the JC2 had air conditioning, the JC3 has a fan on moderate speed. But don't get me wrong, the JC3 still has average ventilation. The throat of the shoe has perforated mesh and it allows some heat to escape. The support on the J Crossover 3 depends heavily on the fit, so if you get that good fit, expect the support to be good as well. Otherwise, a sloppy fit will give you a sloppy support. For starters, the ballistic nylon upper has very minimal stretch, unlike the woven upper in the JC2 that had quite some stretch. Also, the fuse overlay at the lower lateral of the JC3 adds containment when doing side-to-side movements, especially cuts and crossovers. Note as well that while the ballistic nylon has minimal stretch, it is still flexible. It is not elastic, but it will bend with the movements of your feet, particularly at the lateral. So if you get the right size, you'll get that decent support that mainly relies on that one-to-one fit. Let's go to what is probably the most intriguing part of the JC3, the shroud. The shroud attaches to the shoe by way of the top 3 eyelets and the latch at the back of the shoe. When latched on, the shroud increases heel lockdown. Now, even without the shroud, heel lockdown is still fine. I've had no heel slipping issues of any kind without the shroud, but with the shroud in place, you'll have an additional layer of heel and ankle support. Just note that the shroud restricts range of motion to a minimal extent. Personally, I did not have any significant issue with range of motion with or without the heel shroud. Even if the JC3 is light and its cushioning is responsive, the shoes are stable. Your feet won't teeter sideways because of the force vector or the TPU that houses the black foam. It's like a cage for the beast inside. Also, the JC3 does not have a pronounced outrigger, but the fairly wide base of the forefoot with respect to the midfoot and heel and the semi-curved shape of the outsole should be enough to compensate for that. Finally, the JC3 has a removable insole just like the JC2. There's not much to say about it other than it is your basic EVA foam that adds step-in comfort and eventually molds according to the pressure points of your foot. Overall, the support in the JC3 is more guard-oriented, just like the JC2. After all, the shoes were designed for the shifty 6th man Jamal Crawford. Of course, it does not stop anyone regardless of size and playing type from hooping in the JC3. All I'm saying is that the JC3 is most suitable for players who rely more on their agility than the power of their lower limbs.
Are you listening?
At the end of it all, the JC3 is a good shoe to hoop in. It's not otherworldly, but it provides you what you need and a touch of style as well. The traction is decent, although I think it could have been better. Fit is good, support is also good, cushioning is really nice, and I think it's the standout feature of the JC3. If you play like a guard with shifty feet, you may pick these up for your hooping needs. Overall, I give the BRANDBLACK J Crossover 3 a grade of A, which is equivalent to 94 to 96 points out of a maximum 100. That wraps up my detailed performance review for the BRANDBLACK J Crossover 3. Please like this video by hitting the thumbs up button. Do subscribe to my YouTube channel as there will be more performance reviews coming. Add me on Instagram as well. All the links will be in the description box below. Thank you for watching. You guys have been awesome. Until next time, have a great day everyone. Peace out.